lot of anxiety, and the, the military government right now, the transitional government, is kind of controlling the streets and the voices and shut down the internet, and things are getting expensive, and they tightening the grip.
You guys had a leader for years. He was overthrown, and then a guy came in to power, and he was supposed to be transitional, and he kind of took over power, and
Right.
Never gave it up.
Well, here's the thing. For 30 years, the Bashir government was ruling the country of Sudan. So when we start to protest and we start to go against the government, protests continue. What they did, they came up with this scenario of removing the president, and then his lieutenants, they took over. So what's happening right now, one of his senior lieutenants taking over, and he's a military general. So what they're doing is they're exactly playing the same game, just a different person. It's the same government structure. They're in charge of everything. They're in charge of the power, and they are very brutal to the citizen of Sudan. So now what is happening is, yes, President Bashir is gone, but the regime is still there. So we got just one person gone, but the regime is still there. And we can't trust the regime.
That's the Hamedi guy?
Yes.
Yes.
So the Hamedi guy is, and actually is a paramilitary militia. And his forces were the forces that they committed the atrocities and the killing, the genocide in Darfur. Yes. So this is the kind of person who is running the government right now. We cannot trust him. The regime is still there.
These peace talks going on.
Right.
Do you believe anything positive is going to come from this, or is this all just smoke and mirrors?
Well, there are two things that we are looking into. Well, if we don't really compromise with this peace agreement, which we completely don't trust, we are afraid that the country may turn into a civil war. And then we look into the neighboring countries like Somalia and like Libya and things like that. We don't want the country to really turn into something like that. The other thing is, like, even though we're not trusting the military council, but we still want to work with them. So with the help of the African Union, the help of the neighboring countries, and some European countries, we said, okay, let's sit together and let's work into a transitional period. So the transitional period of 3 years of transitional period. This transitional period is going to be for rebuilding peace, trust, and also giving a little bit of break to the Sudanese people so they can live their lives without fear.
This transitional period, this peace negotiations that are going on, someone that grew up in the Sudan and has been following these news, what positive step in the right direction is this for a country that's dealt with so much for such a long period of time?
Well, here is the thing. We are happy that the international community said, hey, now we acknowledge there is something wrong going on in Sudan, and we want to help the people. So the international community coming to support the people. So our voice is being heard. So since our voice is being heard and people now start to see what's going on in Sudan, we said, okay, now this is a positive things that our story is coming out and becoming an international story. And let's work with the transitional military council so we can help the country in Sudan and bring stability.
So you're happy with what's going on, but there's still a lot more work to be done.
Well, here is the thing. As President Reagan said, trust and verify. So I am hopeful this is something good, but I still want to verify. Because Egypt, we have President Mubarak being overthrown, right? They elected, and then the military took over. So now the president of Egypt was a military general. So he came as transitional period, but look what, now he became a civilian president. So that's what we worry about.
So there's still a lot more work to be done.
Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of more work need to be done. 30 years, 30 years of atrocities, genocide, dictatorship, brutal government. Millions and millions of Sudanese people fled the country, including me.
And a lot are in Omaha. I believe other than Minneapolis, I think Omaha and Nebraska and Lincoln are one of the largest Sudanese communities here in the United States, right?
Nebraska is our second home. Nebraska is our second home. And in Omaha, the biggest population in America is in Omaha.
How is the Sudanese community feeling about what is going on?
Well, back home there are lots of, here as a community, we have a lot of uncertainty. There is a lot of anxiety going on. So we're hopeful that peace and stability come to Sudan. So we're hoping this military council will feel the pressure from the international community and then do the right thing.
Are you guys planning on visiting Sudan soon, going home, or do refugees want to stay here in America?
Well, most of us are American citizens.
Yes.
Right. But I would love to go back and see my family. I don't think I will see them anytime soon because I'm afraid for my safety. But of course, yeah. Because now the peace agreement, they said, okay, the military council said, okay, we'll have 5 civilian and 5 military generals that they're going to run the country. But I get only 5 civilians, but it's still the military in power. I still worry about going there and maybe get arrested or put in jail. Oh yeah, they can do a lot. Mm-hmm.
Last question. We were touching earlier that some might think that the Trump administration might use what's going on in Sudan for their own political motivations moving forward, and maybe try to say we can bring refugees back to Sudan. What are your thoughts on this, and how does the Sudanese community here in Nebraska feel about potentially being used as a political pawn in a bigger scheme?
Well, I think that the Trump administration don't know a lot about the Sudanese refugees. I don't think they know that there are people like myself who joined the military after September 11th, fought for America, did an honorable things. And right now, as a civilian, I'm still serving the nation as well. But the Sudanese, within the last 30 years, some of their kids become doctors, lawyers, teachers. So they integrated really well into the society. You can't just come and take them back like that because this is their home. This is the only country that I know and I grew up in right now. I was born and raised in Sudan, but I hope the Trump administration will look into that and not sending back people back to Sudan because it's not stable. So even if there is something like that, they get to wait for another 3 to 4 years to make sure that people voluntarily wanted to go back if they want to.
Anything else you want to add that we didn't touch on so far?
I really would love for the Nebraska community to kind of support and listen to our story, and maybe also tag team with us and talk to elected officials, maybe to bring our story to the public, because not so many people knows about the story of Sudan.
Obviously, talking to politicians and donating are 2 ways, but what are some other ways everyday citizens can help support the Sudanese community? Well, I think social media will be great, really. Look at the stories and
share stories and bring it to the public eye. That's really will be very, very helpful.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add?
I'm proud to be Nebraskan. And Nebraska is home. Nebraskan people are awesome. I know not so many people knows about the Sudanese, you see, but I hope people will get a chance to get to know us.